Here we are. Very, very different look to the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Some may say better looking. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Most would.
I'm Jason Kiefer from, as Dan would say, the Illegal Shift Studios, the One More and I'm Out of Here studios. And I am blessed to have my buddy, our friend,
I don't know about blessed,
Andrew Pappas, on as the co-host of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Andrew, welcome.
Thanks
Welcome
for having
to the
me.
studio.
Thanks for the offer, and I really am humbled by it because, I think of myself as just an average human being. Maybe not average.
Depending. We'll put the jury out there for that one. No, it's our listeners have been curious who's going to come in and take Dan's seat since Dan had to swan song out.
Well,
But
I will say this: Dan somehow ruined the pneumatics on this chair. It's permanently it's permanently stuck in the lower position. But I don't know if that's more him than me. But Dan has left. Look, I was a frequent caller or guest on the show. I came on and would always annoy you with comments during the show that not everybody could see. But this is this was a good fit, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm happy to be here. Dan left very big shoes to fill. A small jock, but big shoes. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm hoping he's watching or listening today.
If he doesn't, he'll hear about it.
Right.
We'll see here in a minute. My phone starts blowing up. But no, we'll continue the tradition of talking about national stories and trying to see if there's some way, at least my focus, I think, is going to be, since let me just give you a brief, for the listeners, for people watching, brief bio. Andrew Pappas. I was a trustee here in Anderson for 8 very long years. And seems like 20.
Right.
And
that beard wasn't as gray.
No, it wasn't. It was black, and now it's just gray, and the hair is gone. But I'm also always been politically active. I can't remember a time where I was not politically active, and I seem to know a lot of people through my political contacts, and I am happy to always try to bring the national stories and national politics down to a local level, because my opinion is people, there's only so much you can do about stuff happening here, there, everywhere else. But you can always affect your local politics. And I think that is key, because so many people today, especially given what's happened in the last few years, have seemed to become quite despondent with their with the political situation in this country. And I want to try to always bring the local politics down to a level that, a local level, so that people can feel like there's something they can do, and also see how, this affects them. And that's something I think is pretty key. A lot of people, you included, might have know several that, you do a podcast, or you talk about politics, or you talk about national stories, but none of that stuff affects me. Right. Here's, my deal is everything affects you.
Yeah.
Whether
absolutely.
you realize it or not, everything affects you, and you might not want it to. So I'm happy to, bring my perspective, and I try to do things always with a sense of humor. And if I can manage to piss off each and every Democrat that's listening and in the township, in the universe, then I've done my job and I can move on.
Right. I can go to sleep.
I can sleep
very, very well.
That's right.
But yeah, that's the big thing. And we've talked about it before. And I tell all my young guys at the firehouse, guys and gals, they'll talk about the presidential race. And I'm like, who are you voting for your school board? Who are you voting for your trustees? And then, you walk up the line. Who'd you vote for senator? Whatever. And
do they know this?
They don't.
Yeah. Do they know?
But like you said, like everything starts local and small. And those are the people that move up through the ranks.
Yeah, they can.
Potentially. Yeah, if that's what they choose to do. But yeah, everything.
You mean if it doesn't suck the soul out of the person and leave you as an empty husk? Is that what you mean?
Right. Just walking down the road like you're in The Walking Dead. Oh God.
What happened to him? Oh, he was on the school board for a few years, or he served in politics. There's no soul left in the guy.
You know, it's funny. He's only 35, but he's got a walker. He's got a walker, and he's walking around in circles. It's weird.
Have you seen Girth lately? Poor guy is aged.
So I haven't talked to you. I was on vacation.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was fun.
Must be nice being able to go on vacation. What's that like?
It was a great time. Well, you just got back, so shut the fuck up.
I did not I do not take vacations.
Okay.
All right. That is a true story.
It was a work trip.
No, it wasn't a work trip. I was doing things.
I was doing things.
But I did not leave the country. How about that?
Correct.
Where were you at?
Dominican.
I mean, I heard it's lovely.
It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, your pictures look nice.
So we had a debate watch party down there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was Magaland.
Oh, cool.
So it was great.
Well, these are people that can afford to go on vacations, right?
Right, because they work.
That's where they have jobs.
But I want to get your quick 2-minute take on the debate, and then we'll move into, because we've got multiple.
Did you watch my debate synopsis, my live debate commentary?
I did not.
I'll forgive you this time.
All right, cool.
I was going to do a debate, like a virtual watch party on Zoom, some people, or just whoever wanted to join. And then the Sons of Liberty were having a
Sons of the American Legion.
Yeah, Sons, close enough. And they were having a party, and I said, hey, is there any way? And they were having a watch party, and I said, is there any way that we could, invite? It was open to the public. That raises money for the post 318 on Clough Pike.
Yep.
I believe it's 6,600 and Clough Pike. And we said, yeah. They said, yeah. Have some of your, because our club meetings are there at post 318, so it was a natural extension for us to just join them for their watch party. And it was fantastic. I mean, it was really, really good. Well, I believe we had the only Republican Party organized watch party in Hamilton County, and it was great. I'm sure it was much along the same lines as yours, being with like-minded people. Sometimes during debates I suffer from Tourette's. I've been known to involuntarily shout expletives at the TV, but no, it was fantastic, and it was a really good time with good people. I knew that here's my take on the debate. As soon as Biden, first of all, when he walked out, we all have our, I guess we're looking for stuff to kind of look for, that we're going to micro manage or pick up on. But when he started speaking, and he was really, really hoarse and raspy, and he looked tired to me, he looked very pale. And then, because I knew, because I've been following it, I knew that he had taken literally a whole week to prepare for this debate at Camp David. He did no state work. He did no people's business. He basically hunkered down at Camp David on our nickel and prepared for the debate. I was absolutely blown away that this was what he came out like, flat. And I thought the split screen that CNN did. Now, first of all, that's probably now actually we watch the CNN feed on Fox, because I wouldn't want to give CNN the ratings on that. But when we watch 5-1, I gotta learn these guys. I see the comments.
Oh yeah, you'll learn. Oh, you'll learn.
Cincy 513. That's awesome. When I saw, he was flat and he came out, I was like just blown away. And then the night went on, and it just became better and better and better, because I knew he was he wasn't laying an egg. He was having a full-fledged event on the bed. He shit the bed. It came out of the bed. It went on the floor. The guy was all over the place. And
I brought it up to Dan, when I got back, our first podcast after the debate. I brought up, I said the split screen was the best thing that could have happened, because watching his reactions and that, it was a shell of a dude. Yeah. And then the fact that, now you have Corinne Jean-Pierre. Well, he had a cold.
Oh, well, guess what? We're going to get into that. But when they had the split screen, now, first of all, I know a lot of local Democrats, and I know of them. One of them drives past my house almost every day, and I let her know what I think, her and her husband. But I don't know many people. I trend not to hang around people. Do you know the term mouth breathers?
Well aware.
I mean, so if you're standing there, if you're standing there, and this is just a tip for everybody out there, if you're have nothing to do and you're standing there like in a crowd or seated, maybe waiting for a plane in an airport, and you're just sitting there, you look a little more intelligent if your mouth is closed and you're actually able to breathe out of your nose rather than this mouth agape mouth breather that he just looked lost and clueless. And yeah, the split screen was just hammering him.
Yep.
And Trump, to his credit, someone got a hold of Trump and said, look, chill with the eye rolls, chill with the mouth pursing, tone it down a bit, and the shrugs. I thought Trump looked solid. They both there you go. And I have my cup here, my Trump cup, filled with delightful spritzer. No, I thought it was just over immediately. And I was really relishing in the gnashing of teeth that was probably taking place locally with at least the local Democrat club. If they were having a watch party somewhere, I was just like, they have to see this train wreck coming.
You didn't get invited to that one.
No, I just get invited to that one. I think it was at St. Timothy's. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they had a watch party.
But no, I thought it was funny. Like when Jill and I were down there, we met all these people. And
how many people were in the room? I mean, did you know?
I mean, we probably had. We had like 12 to 15
inside or outside.
We were in a cigar bar.
Okay, cool.
Which was perfect.
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, we need to watch it. We need to figure out a way to watch this. And I'm like, that's a great idea. I think we should.
So what'd you do? I mean, how hard? I mean, you had TV.
Yeah. So we had to tell the Dominican bartender,
hey,
turn that on Fox News.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Is that what they do? I don't know.
They speak Spanish, and I don't speak very good Spanish. I said, here, just give me the remote. I'll find it.
Spanglish.
Yeah. It was, I start talking with my hands.
Were you sober?
No, fuck no. Absolutely not.
Did that make it more enjoyable? I think it probably did. You're like, he's an idiot.
So I was live streaming with the Failure to Stop podcast at the same time.
I should have seen that.
So I was watching.
We're both podcasting at the same time.
So I was watching the TV and doing, they were doing reaction, just like everybody was. But it was, I mean, now that I'm older, I pay more attention than I did when I was, 20, 25. But watching
30,
this debate, like it was amazing to me, like how it was a no-brainer. A no-brainer on one end, but a no-brainer on who actually won that debate, because there wasn't a whole lot of debating actually even going on.
No, the format was to, not the best.
Right.
It wasn't a debate per se.
It was talking.
Here's where I got
talking points.
Off.
You get talking points, and here's your 2 minutes, and you're done.
But here's where I kind of got turned off, and I think a lot of people got turned off. First of all, I'm cognizant enough to know that, look, my side or my people, like you were with a group of like-minded people and watching it, I'm not here for them, and I think they're going to see it through their glasses. The Democrats are going to see it through their glasses. I'm interested in what the responses of the people in the middle,
right?
Which, rightly or wrongly, are the people that decide the election. It seems like you could run a potato for office, any office. He's going to get 40%, or she's going to get 40% of the vote,
right?
Or they, whatever. But
what we're calling
whatever they're calling themselves. But what I think is that I got a little turned off, and tell me if you felt this way and I don't remember the specific question, but they're like, it was a really nice day today. Didn't you think so? And he's like, well, let me tell you what they went on a completely other, they didn't even answer the question. I thought that was getting a little bit annoying. You can always, I think it would have been more engaging for me. So I think it turned off the independents when they saw that happening. Mm-hmm. That concerned me a little bit. And I would be like, if I was to give any advice that they would listen to from me, I would say, acknowledge the question. Okay. That's a good question. I'm going to answer it. Let me tell you briefly, and then take the rest of your time to respond or to talk about what you want to talk about. I think that's more engaging.
Yeah.
So when they started going tit for tat back and forth, not answering the question, I got a little put off.
Yeah. That's frustrating because you're engaged, and all of a sudden you're like, well, what the fuck are we talking about?
Did I like the questions? No. I mean, your host, Jake Tapper. I mean, come on. The guy's got no credentials whatsoever. He's a complete utter biased. And as for the other hostess, but
I will say though,
all in all, it was okay.
To your point with that, I mean, I will say, I felt Tapper did a good job.
He did a better job than I expected.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly my sentiments. Like I didn't know what to expect.
Well,
I had an idea.
The bar was pretty low with me. I don't know what you were expecting.
Well, I had an idea of I figured it would be more biased, but I didn't feel that he was super biased during that. I mean, I felt that the questions were all softball questions.
They were all softball questions.
I mean, literally, swing a wiffle ball bat and hit a beach ball. But I'm hoping. And so, what are your thoughts on? Will there be a second debate? Do you think there will be a second debate?
When is the second debate scheduled?
I think it was September. I believe.
Okay, well,
I believe.
So that gets into another subject that we'll talk about. So the Democrat.
See how that segues?
Yeah, you do a nice job. You have notes. You've been doing this longer than I have. I tend to fly by the complete seat of my pants. You realize that the Democrat convention is August 15th, right? I think it's the 15th. Pretty sure.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Without looking it up.
So, having the second debate after the convention, it lends itself to a bigger question that everyone's talking about. We don't have any other insight than everybody else, but I will say here, I'm looking at the New York Post story today for senior House Democrats, including, you spoke of beach ball. Jerry Nadler is going to, is calling for Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. My thoughts on that are this. If you watch, everyone says, who's running the White House. I'll tell you who I think is running the White House, and I think is calling all the shots. I think that's his wife. I mean, Jill Biden does not want to leave that position at all. She likes the stuff. She likes the trappings. I can't imagine what life has been like with Joe Biden, given the stories that we've heard.
Swimming naked in the pool.
Oh, that's documented.
Joe,
that is documented.
Joe, get out of the pool.
No, the Secret Service agents, the
we
female
have company
ones,
coming over.
They did not put your clothes on. Given the diary with his daughter, that has her kind of messed up in a messed up state, which I think is just criminal. And given the job he did, he has my condolences on his son Beau, but he didn't do a really good job with his other son. And his dog bites every dog they've had has bitten everybody under the sun.
Well, fucking Maverick needs to be shot.
But here's the deal. How many times have you heard this? There's no bad dogs. There's bad dog owners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. The dogs tend to assume or take on or imprinted by the personality of their owners. So I've heard Joe Biden has a horrible temper. I heard he treats people like garbage.
I have heard that as well.
And so I think Jill Biden, getting back to where I was going with this, Jill has had to put up with so much crap being married to this guy that she's like, screw this. I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if he's blowing bubbles in the corner. He's going to be the guy, and he's not dropping out of the race. Right. So that's my opinion. I have some side bets with people. I mean, what do you think?
I'm not completely convinced. I agree with you in the fact that she doesn't want to lose.
She likes
that stuff. Notoriety.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice house,
right?
I mean, it's got you don't have to wait in traffic.
I've seen a couple memes, and it was funny. A couple memes are like,
are they memes or memes?
What memes? Jill holding Joe's head in a toilet bowl, saying, "You are not backing out of this, bitch."
Yeah. She's waterboarding him.
Right.
I mean, she's motorboating him. She is. No, she likes the stuff, and she doesn't strike me as a particularly nice person.
But
either.
she has been so quiet.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Did we say doctor?
No,
she's a doctor.
Dr. Jill.
We had a doctor here on the school board. Remember? Yes. I think we have another one. I think Jason is a doctor.
Give them the respect they deserve.
Doctor.
But
damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor.
But I mean, you have her who has been quiet
Yeah.
up until the last 4 months, 5 months. You never heard a single peep out of her. And then when she's after the debate where she's
Oh my God.
and Dan said it on the podcast,
God.
it's like, oh, you went to potty.
Oh my God. That was horrible.
I'm
that
like,
was,
how
you answered all the questions.
How emasculating is that?
Oh, it's horribly
Holy
emasculating.
shit.
And he stood there and took it because he had nothing better to do. I don't think he realized it, but
I don't think he knew where he was.
No, so
I want to know how much methamphetamine he had in his fucking system, or coke, or whatever.
You know, I think they were expecting. Here's the deal. So after, if everyone remembers the State of the Union, first of all, he was whacked. I mean, the guy was whacked out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And his eyes were dilated. They were wide open. And I think that they said, okay, I think that was I think they spent the better part of that week deciding what was the blend of stimulants they were going to give him to keep him awake. But you mentioned earlier, you said, Jean Lapierre, JLP.
I call her Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons.
Well,
you'll learn these.
I'm going to pick up on all these. Give me a second. It's my first one. Bring me in
good.
slow. I'm a virgin.
We'll be gentle. We'll be gentle the first round.
The first excuse was he had a cold, right? Then they came out with he was jet lagged from 12 days previously, which I've been to Europe, and jet lag does not last 12 days.
No.
Especially if you're on a damn plane that has a full bedroom and a king size bed in it that you can sleep the entire way. You know, it's not like Biden was back in coach sitting next to some 350-pound guy, right? Sandwiched between two big Germans coming back from Munich. That's not the way it works. He was on, he can take a shower on there. He can eat, on real plates, real food, not like that flight from Delta that was in the news that they had to divert the flight because the food had spoiled and they fed people rotten food. My God. But I mean, so, you got to figure all that. So first he was sick, then he was jet lagged. And then he even did the interview with Stephanopoulos. And first of all, as a fellow Greek, I can say this. I think George Stephanopoulos was adopted by a Greek family from a traveling yak herdsman. Okay, because I don't think there's any Greek in that guy. He makes me sick. The guy is literally about 4 feet tall. If you've ever seen a wide angle shot of the studio on NBC or ABC News tonight, his feet are just barely dangling there. He looks like a child.
Well, Jill asked last night when I pulled that interview up. And she goes, "Why the fuck are they in a middle school?" And
that's where George goes to school.
But it literally, to what you just said, there's little chairs make him look bigger.
No, he's a small guy. I don't really care. It's fun to poke fun at him because that's how shallow I am. But he's a horrible he's a horrible interviewer. He is in bed with Democrats. He's always been a Democrat. He's a hardcore Democrat. And that was the interview they gave, and he told Georgie, I call him Georgie, he told little Georgie that he was thrown off because Trump was yelling during his answer. Now, here's the thing: I don't know if he remembers. It was split screen,
right? We
could see that Donald Trump wasn't saying a damn thing while you were talking. So, it's like the dog ate my homework. I lost it. I never got it. I mean, at some point, I think that though, I really do think the American public, I think John Q. public, I think normal Americans, and I'm not talking of some of the Andersonians we have here who are Democrats that run their club. But I think normal people see through all this, and I think they're just utterly and completely embarrassed. And I think a lot of people that initially maybe back, and I'm not going to get into I don't think it's helpful to relive the last election. I do hope that the loopholes and some of the voting irregularities and some of the way they kept polls open and allowed late ballots and ballots that weren't postmarked by dates and drop boxes, especially unsecured drop boxes, which you've talked about that a little bit. But I hope that they close those loopholes that they opened for, quote unquote, the pandemic. We don't have that yet this time, but I think that a lot of people that maybe were on the fence last time and said, I'm tired of Donald Trump's bravado. I'm tired of his tweets. I'm tired of this, that, and the other, and they can't be any worse. Well, you've had 3.5 years of a whole lot worse, and people are hurting. And I think people are just very clearly going to vote with their pocketbook primarily, and they're going to just say, you know what, I may not. And I have some Republicans. They're like, I don't like Donald Trump, and I'm like, well, I understand that. I'm not asking you to date the guy, and I don't want you to have conjugal visits at the White House, but was the country better off? And on every matrix that you can possibly measure, the country was much better off. And I'm not even getting into, you want to throw world events into it. I mean, then you'll really go running and screaming.
Right. So what's your opinion? So during that debate, RFK was answering the same questions on his little platform.
I honestly, I
didn't get to see any of it.
What'd you hear?
I mean, he had like over 2.5 million viewers watching.
Sure he did.
So it's like, so that's that middle ground that you're talking about. So the way I look at this, and you are way more versed in politics than I am, but this to me, him running and still trying to run as an independent.
Well, he'll be on the ballot,
right?
He secured the necessary.
Him being an independent, is the fucking Ross Perot.
I lived through that
with fucking Michael Dukakis and fucking HW. What's your opinion on it? There are some things that RFK says that, like, I'm like, oh, I can wrap my head around that. But then there's other things I'm like, I'm completely not.
I think, first of all, I respect the guy. Okay. And I think it's horseshit what the Democrats have done to him. They've pretty much, just totally isolated him and badmouthed him. And I also think that the federal government under Joe Biden not giving him Secret Service protection is absolutely criminal given his family history.
Exactly.
I mean, his, the
I'm not a detective, but there are clues there that say that history is not good, and something could happen. Some radical fucking asshole will just try to make a name for himself.
Just to make a name for himself. So I think that there's been a long history there, and the man is going to be on the ballot. So I think he should be off-forwarded Secret Service protection. I agree. You're telling me that with what we spend in this country on everything else, you think they're doing this for fiscal policy, fiscal conservatism?
Yeah, we're saving money.
No. So I think that at the end of the day, I think he's going to pull more, especially after Joe Biden's performance, of people that say on the Democrat side say, this guy's a joke. He's clearly senile or suffering from some sort of dementia or some medical condition that's affecting his cognitive skills. They're going to be pulled more towards the Biden camp. I mean, they're going to pull more from the Biden camp to go to RFK than people saying, because I think Trump came off as clearly much more level-headed. He was not the bravado of Donald Trump of old. And I think that he is going to, I really think deep down. Now, I'm not saying this so people can get complacent. As a matter of fact, I've got a lot of thoughts on the election here locally that people can do. And I think that everyone in the sound of my voice, especially here in Ohio, if you've decided that you're going to support Donald Trump for president, when the early voting opens up, you need to get in and vote. And then you got to dedicate yourself to helping work the polls for the election day. Yeah. And also, another thing I would recommend that everybody do, at least on my side of the aisle, is make sure that your friends and neighbors are all registered to vote, because don't assume that people are just going to get out there and vote. I want you to get off your couch. I want you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I want you to help get as many votes as possible. Don't be complacent saying, oh, I've heard it's going to be a blowout. I heard it's going to be a landslide. I personally think that it's going to be an electoral college landslide. Popular vote, who knows? Like I said, I think you put a potato on the ballot and they're going to get 40% of the vote. That's just the way it works. People sit there and talk about landslides, right? A landslide is 55-45. That's a big victory. A 10-point victory in today's politics is a big victory.
Yep.
And people don't, you think of it, you try to put it in sports perspective and you think, oh, it was a shutout. This guy got smoked. That is a smoking in the general sense of politics. That's a smoking. And people need to understand that. So what that tells you is, if anything can get 45% of the vote, buddy, you better work. You better not assume anything's taken for granted. You better get out there and vote.
And that's the thing. Exercise your right to vote. I don't care. I don't care. You obviously, Dan, Rob and I, and you and I, we've
had good news about Rob too.
Yes.
We're going to talk on that.
I will.
Yeah.
But we all lean the same way. Now, I may not agree with everything that Dan.
You agree with everything I say, though.
No, I definitely do not.
Yes, you do.
Definitely do.
You told me before the show started.
You told me before I hit live.
You said I agree with everything you said.
But get out there and do it. I don't care who you vote for, but don't bitch. If you don't go out and vote, don't bitch about the end result.
Which gets back to people sometimes say, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't affect me. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter who I vote for. Doesn't matter. Nothing changes. Where have you been the last 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so did you see today, at least this weekend, the stories were breaking on the news networks. They said gas prices have never been lower than today, or it's been 3 years since gas prices have been this low. Do you know by how much they were low?
You're going to tell me.
1 cent.
1 cent.
1 cent.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. So I think with what you're seeing, I think the press, yes, you mentioned the New York Times editorial board, the Democrats have come out about maybe Biden not being on the ticket, but man, they are going to do their damnedest to make sure they pump up this administration every chance.
Oh yeah,
they didn't do food. We didn't do food. Now, hey, what did the people when you were in the Dominican and this is how screwed how skewed the press was. So what did they do? When I remember the question clearly, the guy goes, President Biden, food costs that were $100 last year now are $120. I was like, what are you buying?
Right, exactly.
Like, what the hell are you buying? Did everyone snap at that?
Oh yeah, everybody that was with us are like, what the fuck did they just say? Dude, it was to the point, like, even the Dominicans that work there were bartenders. Trump.
You're kidding.
Trump.
Wow.
This dude walks out in a pair of Trump fucking swim shorts. The whole pool went fucking crazy.
I have some of those.
Dude, they went crazy. And the bartender's like, yes. It was just ironic. I mean, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, our stuff affects most of the world.
Well, I mean, yeah, our the inflation at home, at least now, the U.S. dollar still is the reserve currency. And those people who rely on tourist dollars, okay, Dominican Republic, or at least where you were,
yeah,
they rely on people having the disposable income to go there.
They wanted American dollars, not the pesos like that.
Is that what they use?
They use Dominican pesos.
Now they share the island with Haiti, right?
Yeah.
So they have anything to say about the Haitian situation? Or
I didn't bring it up. I know it's rough over there right now, and
yeah.
I know some of them have family. Like I was talking to one bartender, he's got family over there. He's like, dude, it's rough as shit.
You imagine the amount of the billions of dollars that have been, and I don't have the answer, but the billions of dollars in aid that have been given to Haiti, and it seems not to be getting to the people, or for some reason it's just not working its way down to the street level. Corruption, I don't know what the answer is, but I mean,
I guarantee, I would almost guarantee it's corruption. I mean, it's go filters through the government, and then all of a sudden
there's no Haitian resorts, is what you're saying.
Correct.
So where the line is, it's the same island, right?
Stay on the east side. Stay on the east side of the island.
Maybe we could open up like a cheaper one.
just right there,
right there, just right over the line. You need a gun, and you got to chain your door, and you get mugged every night. But you save so much money. But the beach, I mean, that's kind of, look, I used to live in St. Thomas. So I spent a good number of my after college years in St. Thomas, and we won't talk about that because it's fuzzy. But my question is, I mean, so, okay, it kind of blows me away. So you were there, and you probably didn't leave the resort much. Is it all inclusive?
It was all inclusive. We left the resort twice, once to go into town to a show, but it was still a touristy area. Okay. So it wasn't like I was just going to some bodega and hanging out.
Right.
And then we went on an excursion. So we were dropped off and everything was
How
safe.
Far from the border were you? Do you know?
Oh, we were on the
So you were way away.
Yeah, we were.
So
really
my
far
question
away.
is like, because an island obviously has beaches, right? So I mean, it's like there's the border, and you could have the road and a checkpoint or whatever else, but the guy could just like swim. I mean,
right?
like you just I'm gonna get a float or whatever.
Yeah, you'll have people, and again, we were on the east side of the island, so
you didn't have that there.
No, it'd be a pretty far swim for a Haitian to come over. But I mean, you still have people, peddling, their wares. Their
the
wares.
beach people. Did you buy anything? Fake Rolex?
No,
nothing. Gucci?
No,
nothing.
No, and I was also told not to tip the
cheapskate,
not to tip the cabbies because it's unregulated.
So it is.
So they're like, hey, if they tell you it's $30 to go downtown, which would be like 15 minutes away. Their downtown is like the size of this neighborhood,
right?
Less than that.
Yeah.
They said, tell them 20. They're like,
go
$10 down and don't tip them because
they're making it. That's a ripoff.
Yeah,
anyway.
They're killing it.
What was the gas? Did you notice what gas prices were?
It was in it was in pesos. It was
probably in liters too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was liters.
So that means about 4. Because I totally failed the metric system. But
you
it's
and me
like
both.
It's like close to a quart.
They were saying that like the gas and our driver equated it back to gallons.
What was it?
And he said it was like $5 a gallon.
Okay. I would have thought more than that.
I would have thought too. And when he said it, I was like, so then we're seeing the signs as we're going by these gas stations. It was like 239.
Right.
But it's pesos.
You're throwing
per liter.
You're throwing dollars out the window. You just make it rain.
I threw a bunch of quarters and made it hail.
To the little children.
But no, I mean they wanted dollars, but they were all in on Trump. I mean,
no, but I mean the reason why, like we talked about, is they rely on tourists, and the more the less the American dollar is worth, the harder they're going to have to work because
right.
They're going to get less people that are tighter with their money, and that $20 fare might have gone down to 15 if people are tight on cash.
Right.
So it affects everybody, and it is cool though seeing the Dominicans, the local workers, chanting Trump as you're probably sitting there on the beach or sitting there in the bar. That's actually cool.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it's been a little bit since I've been out of the country. I've been to Jamaica twice, and that was years ago.
Must be nice. Big. I don't travel.
So I'm trying. Okay. I'm trying to make it. I'm balling on a budget, Andrew. Balling on a budget. But I mean, it was neat to see that and see a lot of like-minded people that are they're done with this bullshit. Just done with.
Look,
they want new bullshit
to get. It's embarrassing as an American when you're. I mean, at least my perspective, you were there. But it's embarrassing as an American when the world can look at our president and they just shake their head and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Do you know, I just saw this on Facebook and I'm working.
It's got to be true.
I'm working on getting him on the podcast. You remember Drew Hastings?
Name's very familiar.
He was a comedian. He was on Bob and Tom all the time. He was the mayor of Hillsborough.
Okay. Which we got some local news we want to touch on.
So he traveled. He's in England. His mom's from England, and he traveled back to England. And he made a post. Excuse me. He said, I've asked 5 different cab drivers or Uber drivers, what do you think about the United States president? And you go to Drew Hastings' page and you'll see it. He said, one of them said, too weak and feeble. Another one said, not a strong leader. Another one just giggled the whole trip. And he said the other one was from Iran and didn't speak any English. But even in England, like,
no, it's just
asking those questions. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, the president of the United States holds a certain accountability and a certain, bravado.
I mean, he is the representative of our country, especially overseas. And, like or hate Donald Trump was put America first when he was overseas. He's like, look, we're the United States and we're coming out first. When he would walk out of a meeting, he would be up front.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would push. I mean, there's videos of him pushing his way past, some of those other leaders. And maybe that's bad. I don't know. But here's the deal. Donald Trump is proud and made people proud of America, at least made me proud of America. And, you may not have liked his bravado and his personality, but you didn't think he was going to, keel over at any minute. You did know that he knew where he was, and he had the presence of mind to always command the situation. Sadly, the worst part for me is when Biden is just wandering aimlessly, turning to talk to no one. It's just sad. And actually, I think it's a form of elder abuse in a way. But we are where we are. We have a chance to fix it coming up here in November. And I do think, I see comments. If it's not Joe Biden, who? That's the the $5 million question.
Mm-hmm.
But people say Big Mike. I'm not sure.
Big Mike.
I'm not sure it's going to be Big Mike. I don't think it's going to be Gavin Newsom. We see, that's going to be easy to run against. I mean, the dude is slick. Gavin Newsom reminds me of.
He has the look.
He's got a look. I don't know if it's the look. He reminds me of a. I could see him being a Dracula character in a movie, because he's just, he's put together. He's got the slick hair. He's got the $1 million smile, but he is so creepy slick. It just is annoying. Plus his economy sucks.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to run on that fucking platform.
It's hard to run on, but you're getting back to affecting everyday life. Click back that story. You were going to share that one story. How many people remember now? Getting back to the gas prices, Biden released even more gas out of our strategic petroleum reserve, and he wanted the prices to come down this summer a little bit, and they did dip a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. However, Joe Biden hasn't been doing. He has not been refilling the strategic petroleum reserve, which he has just about emptied, and that was done only for his ratings.
Yeah.
And now this country, the United States, is faced with possibly a world war. We have an ally in Israel that is possibly facing a two-front war if Hezbollah gets involved. And we have Russian troops. I saw a story today about Russian troops on the ground on the border of one of our NATO allies. And so people are really, really concerned about where we're going to be here if the world catches on fire. And because the guy wanted, because of his oil policies here domestically, drilling and environmental policies, and because of his ratings being in the toilet, he further weakened us by releasing the reserves just to prop up his presidential ratings. And he was supposed to be refilling that already, and it's just not happening.
You sent this story to me.
Did I do that?
I'm not wasn't super versed in it, but it says, to recap, the SPR is maintained by the U.S. Department of Energy, and its oil stocks are stored in a huge underground salt caverns at 4 sites along the coastline of Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. Size of the SPR, authorized storage capacity of 714 million barrels, which I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
So, but then it says, after Russia invaded Ukraine, the Biden administration made the largest withdrawal in the SPR history in an effort to curb oil price spikes that happened in the wake of the invasion. Between Biden's inauguration in 21 and mid-23, 291 million barrels were sold.
Right. It's almost half.
46% reduction.
Pretty quick math for a ex-politician.
To a level last seen in 1983.
Yeah.
When I read this,
when I graduated high school,
you're killing it.
I know.
But when I read this, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, most people, and that is specifically set up. That is specifically set up to keep the military running in the event of a war.
Right.
That's why it's called strategic.
Yes.
Because I don't know if most folks understand this. It takes a lot of petroleum products to keep that military run. They don't run on all batteries, and ships are very thirsty when they're going overseas, especially. So the fact that he's done that, taking us down to roughly half, is just, criminal. And to his credit, Donald Trump filled it when the price was at a historical low, and Joe Biden drained it when it was at a historical high, meaning that the next poor schmuck that gets in office is going to be paying a lot more to fill that thing back up than we can probably afford.
Right.
And it needs to be. I'm not saying it needs to be at 100%, but 46% is.
You just said it.
Yeah, I think 46% is just way low, and I think it puts us at risk. But hey, we want to make sure that you have your cheap gas to drive or cheaper gas to drive in the summer, because the election's coming up in the fall. But I think that's all going to be. I think people are going to see right through that.
Yeah, and I mean, and we see this posturing, every election season. Somebody starts posturing one way or another. Whether it's the oil or whether it's this, they want to make sure that they get themselves in a spot to where it's, oh, hey, look, over the last 6 months, look what I did.
Which is why remember the first year he was in office, and they came out with a story, and they said the big headline was this 4th of July, and they do this every year. Your 4th of July picnic is going to cost you 10 cents more. It was 10 cents cheaper. They're like, you're saving money this year. This is the first year he was in office, and it was 10 cents. And then now this year, what they've done is they've switched. They haven't had. I did see a few stories saying this 4th of July, you're going to spend more on food than you've ever spent before. And that was factual and should be said. But what they were pushing also was that gas is at the cheapest level in like 2 years, but it was 1 cent difference. I mean, What's the big deal? I mean, okay, great. 1 cent.
Right.
Thanks. That's the headline story for the press. Thanks.
I'm gonna hit this local one real quick.
Yeah, let's get to some local news.
So we had so close to us.
Very close.
10 miles, maybe.
Less,
not even.
less.
So we had this hit national news, which I thought was super, super cool. And, we're seeing all of this stuff about police, just getting, police are bad and, they do all the fucking wrong things. This was phenomenal. And when I was getting ready for work the other morning, and I'd already seen the story on Facebook, but then it hit Fox and Friends. So it was on Fox News, national news. Thought it was super, super neat. And I think this guy deserves, getting a shout out for going above and beyond.
Deserves so much more.
So let me see if I can get this thing to play right.
The police officer answering the desperate call of a new mother in need of help.
It started as a 2 a.m. emergency call to the Miami Township, Ohio police station. Corporal Hunter Willoughby, on his normal overnight shift, responding to a postpartum mom struggling to breastfeed her week-old infant in desperate need of formula.
She was pretty frantic. She had been driving around, was unable to locate any businesses that were open.
Corporal Willoughby jumping into action, driving to a local supermarket, which was closed at the time. His body camera capturing it all, shining his flashlight until an overnight employee notices.
One my bright light out there.
There is a mom who she said her milk dried up and she can't find anywhere to buy formula. I'll buy it for her.
Corporal Willoughby pondering the different options.
What the heck's the difference?
The manager reminding him.
She had a bottle.
Good thinking.
Willoughby choosing bottles and then buying the items with his own money before rushing back to the mom and baby.
I met her and the baby on the front porch. She was very appreciative, being able to feed her 1 week old, which she told me had been screaming for hours. I saw the relief over her face. It was just instant relief.
While the body camera video has gone viral, Willoughby, an 8-year veteran of the force and himself a father of 2, insisting it's all just part of the job.
I was the one that was put in that situation, but I really do believe that if just about, anyone in our department received that phone call, it would have been handled a similar way.
Above and beyond, making a difference.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers to him.
Knock him out.
Cheers to him.
I mean, that is so. I bet you that happens so much more than you know.
Yeah, you never hear that. You never hear those stories.
And and you've seen, but let him, he was too aggressive at a police stop, or he was too aggressive with somebody accused of a crime, and we're gonna excoriate him, and all cops are blah 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 blah. No, I think what happens more often than not is I know specifically other examples of police officers buying food for homeless people, just providing care on their own nickel above and beyond the call of duty. And, you know, that is Ohio proud right there. And I definitely think Miami Township, those trustees out there need to, you know, recognize that gentleman, give him a key to the city or whatever the thing might be, however they could give him a condemnation, because, no, that's not the right word. Condemnation? You get a promotion. No.
felt like you were Biden there for a second. Commendation.
I was like condemnation. I meant commendation. Thought
you were
like reaching
pulling a Biden stroke.
Well, no, I was like, remember, I've been on the road all day. But I will tell you that commendable behavior is not even begin to apply there. That man is a good man, and that is America right there.
Yep.
And you know
That's
what?
where
You
it
know,
starts.
you want to know the funny thing about that story? Didn't talk about race. He didn't say anything about race. I don't care the race. I'm sure he doesn't care the race.
Right.
He just saw someone in need who was struggling, who was in a bad situation, and the man stepped up and he said, you know what? I mean, I couldn't have gotten in the grocery store at whatever time that was when they're closed. They would have just been like, no, sorry. Yeah, not going. But police officers, seeing that it was a police officer, I'm sure the store was more than comfortable opening the door after hours. And, you know, then does she have bottles? Hell, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I mean, things guys don't think about, right?
Exactly.
Like milk. You go, where's the milk?
That's what he's like. Good. He's like,
next to the half and half. You know, what do we know about that?
Back
stuff?
in the fridge.
That's right. Need some milk, 2% or whole? I don't know. You know, I mean, I buy the wrong stuff when I have to get it for a recipe. This guy's out there buying it for a baby. More power to you, buddy. Congratulations, and thank you for your service and for doing Ohio proud.
I know the police chief out there is getting ready to retire, Mike Mills, and Mike is a stand-up dude. I know he'll take care of that guy and get him what he needs. But
I mean, I think it's fantastic.
And our friend Tina, you know, said they don't want recognition, but they don't want it.
They don't want it, but they get it. They get it on the bad side,
but they deserve it,
and they deserve it on the good side. And I understand he doesn't want it. He probably might even be embarrassed by it. But you know what? I'll tell you this:
it's worth it.
I think it's something for the public. Okay, you might take him out of the equation for a second. Public needs to understand that police are out here seeing the worst of the worst every day, and if they get the chance to help, they do. And that's why I salute our police. I will always back our police. I know that coming up, you know, you want to tie it locally. I know there's discussion of a public safety levy coming up here in Anderson. Maybe you've heard about it.
Yeah, sure have.
So, you know, my attitude when I was in office, and I will always have this attitude, the core function of government is safety and security. That's the core function of government. I think government looks for local government, national government, state government. They look for too many things to do sometimes, and they lose sight of the fact that their core function is safety and security.
Yep.
Without that, we don't have society. So, you know, I do know that the way our levies are structured, they're up for renewal. They have to be renewed. They only have a set life in there. We're not going to get, you know, this isn't a levy show, but dovetailing with the story about the police officer, I will always back our police and fire, to a certain extent, the fire, but
yes, sorry,
present company. No, I
there
will.
We go.
I will always. I will say, you know, that's not to say that they can't overly ask for something. There's negotiations, which is the part of any entity process, whether it's a government or a business. There's negotiations because, you know, they're going to want X and you're going to want Y, but you know, I think that the core function of government is to protect people. And I like the fact that if and when I have a problem in Anderson Township and I pick up 911 and I call, I know that the service is going to be prompt, and I know it's going to be professional, and I'm going to be taken care of with the best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want, those are the things that you want to pay for. I'm good with paying for that. And then, you know, again, I'm sure.
Do we need every shiny new fire truck that's out there?
No.
Now, when I was on the board, we used to have a standing joke amongst the staff, and it was, well, if they want it, just paint it red, and the trustees will approve it. And I'm like, that's not funny. It's really not funny at all. But
I mean, everything has its limitations.
Everything,
right?
everything has limitations. But you do know that when we have levies on the ballot, there is a life expectancy of the levy, 5 years, 3 years, whatever the case may be. We have a long history, at least at the township level, of taking a 3-year levy and stretching it to 5 years, whatever that case, or longer. And I think that people need to understand. And I think that we've seen. I remember the George Floyd riots and protests, and I was on Beachmont. My business was on Beachmont when the local liberals had their protest on Beachmont Avenue, and I was really disturbed by it greatly because it became an anti-police. Generally, everyone threw all the police into the same bucket,
right?
And that was not fair. And I stand up for our police, and I will always stand up for our police and our firemen and our EMS workers, because I want to pick up the phone. I don't want to be put on hold. I don't want to be routed through, Jakarta. Place. Hello.
See.
I want local people. I want local service. I want it.
Do you want to hear about your car's extended warranty?
While you're stroking out,
right?
But I think that that's where I stand on it. And this police officer definitely did Miami Township proud, and he did Ohio proud, and I salute him for his service.
No, that's great. I mean, and these are the things we're seeing so much bad shit in the news about cops,
right?
So seeing those things, I think it's awesome, and especially being so close to home,
so close.
Let's see, where else do we want to go? We can pull off the politics for a second.
Yeah, let's pull off politics for just a bit.
So we Kiefer found his favorite subject again.
What was that, fire and police?
No, it's the bang.
Watching you.
The school district.
Oh, here we go.
Indicted for allegedly having sex with students.
Can I see the picture, please? Because usually they're fairly attractive, and I never understand that.
Not bad. Not bad.
Which one? Or were they
both?
Doing
they
it?
both did it.
They were both doing it?
2 school district employees were indicted for allegedly having inappropriate relations with students. This is a little bit older, but I found it and I was like, oh, I have to play it. So
this is in Georgia.
Georgia.
Not local.
Not local.
Not local.
New York Post, citing an indictment obtained by WXIA TV, Rayleigh Greason and Brooklyn Schuler were charged for allegedly having sex with students at Calhoun City Schools in Georgia.
Is that wrong?
So this was the big joke whenever I would pull it up when Dan and Rob were on. I'm like, these sons of bitches need to learn how to shut their mouth.
The kids or the teachers?
The kids.
Well, come on, man. You're talking, what grade did they say? They don't say.
They don't say.
Minors.
They did not say.
They didn't say what grade they teach.
Per the station, citing court documents.
What's a minor? Is minor 16 or under?
Well, it's 18 and under, but
is it?
Greason was charged with 2 counts of sexual contact.
Kentucky too? Is it 16 in Kentucky?
Well, shit, that might be different.
I can't remember.
It's a Commonwealth.
It's a Commonwealth. 2 different male students. I mean, I first degree.
They were banging it out apparently.
I will say this: when I was in high school, there was a. I mean, this is the only thing I ever knew about that. It seems to be, sadly, these stories are popping up more and more every day.
Yes,
there's a joke in there, but I'm not going to touch it.
I'm not touching it either.
But there seems to be more and more, and I'm serious. These 2 women, I mean, pick either one of them. They could probably start an OnlyFans site, or go to a bar and pick up a of age man, or go on what's that website that people go on? I can't remember the app.
Match?
Is it Match?
No. Well, OnlyFans is where you pay.
It's Tinder.
Oh, Tinder.
What is that? That's a hookup site, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if they
yours is Grinder, but Tinder is the normal.
What is Grinder? Gay?
That's a gay one.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought it might be old. Is there one?
It's grayish. It's grayish.
Is there one that we could start? I got an idea. All right. Newsflash. We could start one of those apps where you just want to go eat with the person. It's called I got to think of the name here in a second, but you don't want to do anything but eat, because you don't want to eat alone. So you just say, hey, you want to go to Waffle House? Okay.
I think that's Farmers Only.
I love that one TV
Farmers
channel.
Only.
That one TV channel. What year was that? I think it was during COVID. They were like advertising like crazy.
Yes.
Farmersonly.com, or it was a website, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. But no, my point is I have yet to see. Maybe it's me, or you agree. This is your deal. You like the stories, isn't it? Have you seen one where you're like, yeah, I can't believe they slept with her? I mean, most times you're like, wow, she's attractive.
We've had a couple where I'm like, ooh, bro. Like, I understand you're just learning yourself, but goddamn, you don't have to do it there. You don't have to do it there. Our buddy Bosco said you can call it grubbing.
Grubbing. I like that. Grubbing. Swipe right.
Swipe right for hash browns.
Swipe left for buffet. Swipe right for. I don't eat out. I mean, honestly, I really don't. I'm out driving around quite a bit. I try not to eat out.
That's what she said.
I know, but it's not healthy for you. I mean, you get fat.
You fucker.
But eating alone kind of does suck. You go to a restaurant, you're like table of one. You have the perp walk of shame to your table.
Loser.
I'm going alone.
Hey,
I'm meeting somebody. Oh, they didn't show up. I'll just eat anyway.
So we still have we're maintaining the viewers. I'm going to give a quick Rob update.
Yeah, please do.
Our buddy Rob is now home. He is out of the rehabilitation facility. Still not speaking perfectly, but cognitively he's there. It's going to be a little bit of a trial and error type thing, I think. But he's home. And Aaron said yesterday, as they were pulling out of the parking lot, he yelled freedom.
Did he really?
So
good for him.
So I sent the Mel Gibson gif to her, where he's riding on the horse. Yeah. You can't take our freedom. So he didn't sleep.
Fantastic.
Didn't sleep a ton last night. So apparently he was an angry elf, according to Aaron today. But
how frustrating that's got to be for him, because if he's in there and he just can't seem to verbalize what he wants to verbalize, that has to be the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, I mean he's walking. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, like
thank God,
right before I left to go on vacation, I said, "Hey man, I'm not going to be here next week, but as soon as I get back, I'll come down and see you." And he was in the wheelchair, just piddling around, maneuvering himself,
right?
But he wasn't walking,
right?
Aaron sends me a video last Sunday of him, just
thank God
traversing. And when I got back the first day that I was able to get out and see him, he's walking down the hallway with one of his therapists, and me and Kevin go walking up, and he was like, "Hey, how's vacay?" Like he recognized and knew that I had been on vacation.
Yeah.
Asked me about it.
Yeah.
So we've made some leaps and bounds. I mean, still a long way to go.
Long way to go. Hey, Rob, prayers, buddy.
Yeah.
Prayers, buddy. This seat's always here for you.
We need you back.
I can go back to my regular life. I miss when Rob would be on the show and he'd go into his on this day in history, and he'd do his little spiel of little things, historical facts that nobody cared about.
He's like, well, then some of them eat it. And he was like, yeah, fuck that. I don't even know what that is. I can't even pronounce it.
Well, it was over at the Varsity when that was there. It's they're putting some money in that place.
Yep.
I don't know who's doing it, but whatever. Local joint.
But yeah, so we've got some good news. I mean, hopefully
that's fantastic news, because a lot of people have been praying and have helped support, because it takes a lot of support. Moral, financial, spiritual, and that's a lot of good prayers answered right there. So let's hope that let's hope getting home helps.
Yeah. And that familiarity, I think, is where Aaron's head is of, let's
got to be hard on her more than, hard on him too, but hard on her, because now you have, having taken care of senior family, that how difficult that is. You really don't get a break. You come home, you got to make sure they're okay during the day.
Yep.
People need to check on them, or someone needs to be there. Can't just leave people, whether it's a senior or somebody recovering from that type of injury. you can't just, leave the TV on and say, hey, I'll be back, and throw some Twinkies on the floor. It's not the way it works.
Right.
Because, they could any number of things. You just got to check on them.
So one of the funny things that Erin had told him, and she passed it on to me. She was like, you have some things that you have to abide by, like things you can do and things you cannot do. And there's going to be some lifestyle changes. And in his broken speech pattern, he was like, well, I haven't had a goddamn drink in 6 months.
Yeah. And it's gonna let's make sure it goes another 6 months. Okay. It might be something we give up.
So it was just funny. Like, I mean,
right.
That's where his head is.
Yeah,
like he's there.
He's there. That's a great sign.
Yeah. So we got that, coming down the pike. We'll see how that works out. And once we get him to start forming better words.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, I heard him before.
Right. And that was
on the radio.
Erin said, she was like, even his baseline before, do you want him back on the podcast?
He's ready. Bring him in.
So, I mean, yeah, it's, that's great news.
I'll tell you, a lot of people don't know. So Rob was, everyone hears stories about Rob, and you've shared them ad nauseum, and as you should. But, if any of my employees ever got into any, let's just say that, being in the service business, sometimes you take whoever shows up, the first pulse that works in the door, right?
Right.
And so you have different employees that may be involved in things that might be in a gray area per se, and sometimes they tend to get in legal trouble. And Rob was always willing to help. Did so much for so many people that I know people have talked about before, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I think we should remind people another person that was very generous and very giving, and we hope and pray for nothing but the best for Rob's full recovery.
Absolutely. And Andrew, on that note, we're gonna roll it out.
Yeah, this has been quick, and
it's amazing how fast it goes, isn't it?
That's what she said. But
yeah. Every time.
But I hope people enjoyed it. I hope they give good feedback, and I'd like to be responsive to the audience and also the locale, and what they might want us to talk about. We have a lot of local issues, but we're also broadcasting everywhere. And whatever you guys want us to talk about, shoot us a note. Jason will get it, and let us know what you want us to do. Not trying to reinvent the wheel here, and you can pick up the radio and listen any time of the day to anything. And there's a lot of talk radio, but if we can try to interject humor here and bring it down to a local level, I think we're doing a good thing.
Absolutely, I agree.
Peace.
Dude, this was fun, man. So we will see. We're going to figure out what our schedule looks like, but we'll be coming back to you here hopefully in a few days, and I'll put it out on Instagram and Facebook to let you know when it's happening. But everybody, just make sure send a note on Instagram or whatever, Facebook. Welcome in Andrew, because I think it's going to be a great addition. It's fun. We fuck with each other, and
we do.
And it's again just like how this started. It was like 3 stepbrothers. Well, now I have a 4th, so I love it. But Andrew, thanks for
you're like the other brother I didn't want.
Right,
Mom, don't bring him home.
Thanks for catching.
Take him back, please.
Thanks for catching the baton as I tossed it to you, and
happy.
We're gonna continue going
I hope
on down the road.
Listen, I hope in the next I'm gonna be reaching out to some if we have the bandwidth or at least the time. If I'd like to get some local candidates, maybe if we
absolutely
could pull in some local candidates and get them on here, and
absolutely
let people maybe ask questions they want to ask.
Perfect, I love it. So we'll let you guys know when we're coming back on next few days or so. So we'll
working
get
it
with
out.
you. See you guys. Thank you.
See you.